Did you know that if you work from home more than a minor nature, whatever the hell that means, I haven't been able to find a definition from that, you may be eligible for an employment allowance and reimbursement for the costs that you incur when working from home that your employer could pay for you, and it could be tax-free to you, but tax deductible to your boss. So there is a whole page on this, and basically the highest amount is $27 per week. I'm reading some of those comments. Now, you could be eligible for this, and you might not even know that it exists. And I'm pretty sure I wrote down what number it is because there's a few things to read through here. But basically, there is a standard cost determination. We have to make all this stuff technical so you guys don't ever go and read up about it because you got no idea what it means. But basically, let's have a look at this. Where an employer pays a regular amount to an employee, the simplest option is to treat up to $7 per week for the amount paid as exempt income to the employee. So that means you don't get paid, you don't have to pay tax on it. Where an employer pays an employee an allowance for general working from home costs, up to $20 of the amount paid can be treated as exempt income of the employee as well. You could be eligible for $27 a week. So if you're working from home quite a bit, you potentially could ask for this $27. However, you're probably like, oh, I don't know, how's that work? But we'll have a good read of the stuff to start with anyway. But there's also in here, there's some other nuggets where you could get up to $400 to contribute towards. You might want to put a new screen in or something that's going to be more ergonomically designed at your house for the amount of time you're now having to work from home. But the world really changed after COVID, and a lot of people are working from home. And check this out. You might even be brave enough to say to your employer, hey, can I get this back paid? And yes, you can. Can I back pay my employee a lump sum amount to catch up on the payments of the $15 weekly payment going back to the beginning of the period covered by the termination, i.e. March 2020, because it increased from 15 to 27, I think it is. So, you might even be eligible for a back payment there. Now, this one is a little bit more technical, but you should at least know that it exists. And of course, I know that you're going to be like, oh, but I'm a little bitch, Luke. I'm a bitch. I don't know what to say. What do you mean? Okay, well, I got you. I wrote this for you. Dear employer, I know you're always interested in looking at ways to support the team, so I thought you might find this interesting. Some of my friends have said they receive a tax-free allowance to cover some of the costs of personal expenses whilst working from home. Here's more info, and we'll insert the link. Now that I'm working from home a lot more, would you be open to exploring this? It looks to be tax deductible for you and tax-free to me. That would make a big difference to me in these challenging times. Are you happy to take a look and discuss this? Thanks, little bitch. Your name. Oh, sorry, you don't want to put little bitch there. So what I did is I wrote this in here for you too, so that you can basically copy and paste this. So I'll give you this, but have a read up of that first to understand it. It needs to be more than, you work from home once every 6 months or something. Your employer is going to go, no, sorry, this doesn't apply. But for a lot of people, they will be working at home more than what, they would have previously, and they may be entitled to some of that. The beauty of that is it's tax-free in your hands. So getting $20 is like getting $30. So the impact of that, let's say it's $27 a week to some of you. That's pretty bloody grunty, isn't it? Never knew any of that. Awesome. There we go, Jacqueline. Again, there's the back pay piece as well, so you might want to look into that if your employer is a real GC. But let's keep going. What else have we got? Well, whilst we're on that theme, can we cut some costs associated with work? Ask your employer about chances of swapping out some costs. Vehicle, phone/internet at home. What those allowances do basically is they help you cover the cost of your internet, of your power, water whilst at home, those sorts of things, because you can't claim those expenses like a business could. So what the IRD is saying is, okay, well, let's let employers pay an allowance to people. But equally, your employer might be like, nah, well, let's actually just pay for your phone or internet at home. Well, let's pay for your parking. Let's give you a clothing allowance, a meal allowance, something like that. You don't know unless you ask. So don't forget about a pay rise as well. Most people are pretty in tune with that at the moment, but always remember that you want to come from a place of how you can add value to your employer. That's going to increase the likelihood of getting a pay rise, and there's some information about this there as well. But most people are pretty well covered on the getting a pay rise thing these days. But perhaps you could work from home a bit more too, and then you don't have to pay for parking, say, or you don't have to then use some fuel. So we're not going to put a number on this one, and we're going to leave this one as unquantified because it will be different for everybody. But a lot of people have told me that, well, not a lot of people, but some people have told me that they've ended up getting a company vehicle, and they've then been able to sell their vehicle, pay off the debt, then they don't have the debt repayment. They don't have to pay the fuel and things like that. And it's worked out massively beneficial for them. Someone's asked quickly, what if you are PAYE and have a business where you already claim for home office? Can you double dip? Let's explore that later on. Now, of course, again, old Bitchy McBixton over here turns up. Oh, what would I say though? Well, have you heard of Chat GPT? I can't write all of these things for you. Jump into Chat GPT and say, I would love to ask my employer for a vehicle, but I'm too scared to ask. What should I say in an email to improve my chances of getting a vehicle? Well, I definitely wouldn't say this, but it does say, I hope this email finds you well. No, the email is not going to find someone well. You don't need to say that. Anyway, this gives you some ideas of things that you could say, but you want to put it back into your own words. But Chat GPT, use it. Use it there. There's a lot of AI now, and it will just get you started.